Hello, this is John Riolo. Welcome to our blog, A Civil Discourse. We lost $1 trillion in one day yesterday. Why? Yesterday, September 29th, our economy shrunk by $1.2 trillion to be exact. It was a major meltdown of our entire financial system. Now, the cost is going to be borne not by Wall Street, but by you and me and everybody else. The reasons we're in the mess we're in are complicated, but a major part of why our country got into the financial mess that it's in is because we've lost the ability to have a conversation with people who see things differently and may not agree with us. We saw it in the past couple of days with, Obama and Pelosi, the finger pointing. We saw it also with Obama and McCain. Each took this very serious crisis and tried to make it a campaign issue. It goes way beyond that. We see it in the daily news. It's been a long time since the days of Walter Cronkite, when he reported the news way back when. But those of us who remember used to remember that he reported news and he kept the spin, his own personal views to himself. It was very difficult, if not impossible, to tell what his personal position was. That wasn't his job. He was to give us facts, and we were to make our own decisions. Nowadays, conservatives go to Fox News and most talk radio, while liberals go to MSNBC and many of the, quote, liberal, press. We get two different versions of reality, and we never hear the other side. Everyone hears just what they want to hear because it fits in with their beliefs of how they think things should be. The problem, of course, is we only get half the truth, and even that is filtered with such spin that we can't tell reality from our own beliefs and fantasy any longer. What's the harm? Well, now we've seen one example of what the harm is. In one day, our economy shrunk by $1.2 trillion. That's a lot of money in one day. And it was because our leaders could not talk to each other. They were busy talking at each other, playing gotcha. What does this mean? For those of us that are retired, it means that we're not going to retire in the same standard of comfort that we hoped. Those of us that are planning to retire, it's going to be much, much harder to save for retirement. There's no getting away from it no matter what happens now. If we have a small business, it's going to be much harder to keep that business going. It could really fail if this credit crisis doesn't stabilize in some way. If we have a job with a business, big or small, we could find that we lost that job because the company we work for can't stay in business. If we bought or want to sell a home, either way, we're going to have a hard time doing it because it's going to be much, much more difficult and much more expensive to get financing to get a mortgage. If we use credit cards, we're going to find out that our credit limits have either shrunk or been eliminated altogether, and we maxed out and we didn't even know it. And if we want to borrow to put our children through college, or if they want to try and get a student loan, it's going to be much more difficult and much more expensive. That's the price tag of our lack of civility, our lack of ability to have a civil discourse. And that's just one day, $1.2 trillion. If this continues, where is this going to go? I urge anybody listening to this, whether you're a conservative, liberal, libertarian, on the religious right or you're an atheist, it doesn't matter. We're one country and we're in one big boat. So what we really need to do is to begin to talk to each other. Listen to those positions, even those we don't like. Don't react with anger and getting outraged because somebody sees things differently than you do. Try to find some common ground. If we don't, I think we're just seeing the beginning of what could be an extremely bad time for us. So this is John Riolo. I hope if you're listening to this particular audio, comment. You agree with me or you don't agree with me. That's okay. Let's talk to each other. We need to get back to some form of civility in our country, or we're seeing exactly what the results will be. Thanks again for listening.